My first 2 years of undergraduate school, I went to Bennington College in Vermont, which is very much an art, literature, music, dance environment. I was a psychology major. However, I took classes in all of those disciplines, and everything about that school was constant art, music, literature, or dance. Everywhere you went, somebody was playing an instrument or doing a dance on the lawn or reading poetry from the top of a tree. And so even though that wasn't my major, I was constantly exposed, both just by walking around and also through classes that I took, to all of those forms of the art world. I did leave there. It was a very small school, only 500 students. And I left because I had a great interest in learning more about my Jewish past. My father was a Reform rabbi, and I knew a lot about Reform Judaism, but I didn't speak or read Hebrew. So I chose to take 1 term and move to Israel and work on a kibbutz and go to Ulpan and learn Hebrew. And 10 days into that experience, the Yom Kippur War started. I was on the border of Lebanon, literally, like it was, a few feet away. But rather than getting scared and coming home, I had the exact opposite reaction, as did all the other young people with me, which is, we're in this, we're going to stay and help. So I stayed for a year on the kibbutz. And at the end of that year, I decided I didn't want to go back to Bennington. I had been in sort of a larger world scope, and I just didn't feel I could go back to that little small, very isolated spot. And my parents told me about a brand new university that had just opened up in Miami that had all kinds of exciting and new programming, very innovative programming, one of which was a bachelor's degree in social work, which was not offered anywhere else. And of course, my interest had been psychology, with a thought of becoming a social worker, which is what my mother was, so I knew a lot about that. And I thought that sounded really interesting, so I applied, was immediately accepted, and came home and went to this brand new university, Florida International University. At that time, it was 3 buildings and massive amounts of parking. It's now, of course, just the opposite. And so I graduated with the bachelor's in social work, and then I made a decision to go to Yeshiva University's program in social work in New York City. It was literally in an office building on 5th Avenue, right in between the New School and NYU. So my educational environments went from being, 500 undeveloped acres in Vermont, a war zone in Israel, a brand new school in the middle of nowhere in Miami, and an office building in New York, all of which gave me many different educational experiences. My degree from Yeshiva University is in Jewish communal social work. So everybody in the program was getting that degree. Now, not everybody was Jewish, certainly not everybody was Orthodox, but we were all training to go out into the community and work in the Jewish system, either Federation or Jewish Family and Children's Service, which is what I was training to do.